By now, you've all heard about Aldrin, am I right? But I feel like this one really does need a bit more of a spotlight, considering the topic and how passionate I am about it, because it is unacceptable and abhorrent, honestly. And the fact that he sits and makes excuses is something else. Anyway, please don't take me down that rabbit hole. So it's a pity that the news was Aldrin and not something more sanctiony related. But the fact is that this is the topic we're going to deal with for the long weekend. What really annoys me is that this is related to gender-based violence, essentially, because his history shows as much. His history shows that he has a huge temper problem and he has a huge respect problem. So let's quickly go through his video and we can take it from there.
Why did you do what you did?
Why are you hitting me?
Why did you do what you did?
Why
did you do what you did?
You did it.
Why did you give me the middle
Look
finger?
at
What was the middle finger?
Stop
for?
hitting me.
What was the middle?
Stop hitting me. Why are you hurting me?
Where did you? Why
Stop.
did you give me that middle finger?
I'm gonna call
Why
the
did you give
police.
me
I'm gonna call the police.
Call the police, whatever you
Stop.
want.
Why are you
that
hitting
middle
me?
finger? Huh?
Why are you hitting me? Why are you hitting
Huh?
me?
Are you mad?
You're hitting to me. Look. Look at this. Look.
You must stop this nonsense.
No. You're gonna stay here. Where are you going?
It's funny that we all know, and he's in the media, we all know how prevalent cameras and access to information is in this day and age. So putting your reputation on the line for somebody, even if they had cut you off. Aldrin, you decided to start your long weekend like this, with a case of harassment. So now all of us are digging up your history, and we're not happy with that either. The fact that this goes back further, past 2020, he admitted in 2020 that he had physically assaulted girlfriends. At the core of the problem is a gender-based violence issue and a temper tantrum. He has a tantrum issue. Cyril sauna address for 2024. This is what he said about gender-based violence.
Together with the civil society, we developed the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence. Together with civil society and as a society-wide response to this pandemic, around 21 billion rand has been dedicated over the medium term to the implementation of the 6 pillars of the plan, including the economic empowerment of women. New laws were introduced to strengthen the response to the criminal justice system, gender-based violence, and provide better support to survivors of such violence. Our ultimate goal is to end gender-based violence altogether by mobilizing all of society. And as part of this, we support the call for a pledge that men in South Africa should be invited to sign, to take and demonstrate, to ensure that they demonstrate their personal commitment to ending this scourge. Now, this initiative of signing a pledge was initiated by young boys at a school called Benedict. They have drafted a pledge that men should commit and sign to. And we discussed it at the Cabinet Lekgotla and felt that we, collectively as the men of South Africa as well, taking our cue from young boys at the school, should also be mobilized to sign this pledge. Women are also drafting their own pledge, which will speak to the issues of women and their experiences on gender-based violence. This pledge, yes, will be flighted publicly, and I will be, and the Deputy President and everyone else in Cabinet will be the first to sign this pledge. We still have a long way to go to build safer communities, to prevent violent crime, and protect our infrastructure. But there is no doubt that a professional, well-trained and properly resourced police force working closely with our communities will make our country a safer place. And it is therefore a further call for the setting up of community policing forums that should be effective, which we as government have committed to fund. Today, every South African can hold their heads high, confident that we have assumed our rightful place on the world stage.
It was funny, his 2025 sauna address said hardly anything about gender-based violence. It was less than a paragraph. And I'm curious about that.
We continue to work across society to end the violence that is perpetrated against women. We have promulgated the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Act, establishing a national structure to oversee a coordinated response to this crisis. We will ensure that the Council is fully functional and properly resourced. We continue to strengthen support to victims of gender-based violence. There are now 65 Tutuzela centers across the country. Out of the 52 districts in our country, 44 have gender-based violence shelters. All police stations in the country now have victim-friendly services. And another 16 sexual offences courts will be established in the next financial year. Now, we want a nation that deals with corruption.
We have our president on stage in front of the nation addressing us on gender-based violence, has hardly anything to contribute at the beginning of 2025. And this particular not-so-gentlemanly person, he's not a man, he's a person, has a history. 24 article appearing on the 3rd of April 2020. It is one thing to admit to abusing a former partner. It's another to provide an excuse for having committed a criminal act of assault. So he recently spoke about the abuse that his mother endured when he was younger. He revealed that he had also physically abused 2 of his former partners. He says, a former girlfriend named Valentine really pissed me off that day, he says, explaining that he beat up another girlfriend at a later stage. He says that incident took place because he felt like he had disrespected me. The radio host suggests he outgrew his violent behavior. From 2020, he admits that he had harassed previous girlfriends, to then he's being allowed to interview somebody on a harassment case. From the South African, appearing in July 2022, an abuser interviewing a survivor. So what happened here is that actor and businessman Mohali is finally telling his side of the story in a tell-all interview. However, peeps are not excited about the host, Aldrin. because of his 2020 Twitter. The fans say it was no secret that Mohale's show is one that fans have been eagerly anticipating, and they would like to hear what he has to say. But peeps have expressed that it makes no sense for Aldrin to interview Mohale, because the Power FM anchor admitted in a Twitter thread, which he later deleted, that he physically abused two of his exes, one in his teens and another at a later stage. And now we have him on camera pushing a woman. He harassed her violently, and I've been assaulted by men on the road in a very similar fashion. Firstly, this is an opportunity for our government to make an example of what they keep promising about gender-based violence. So, Cyril, I would like to ask you to stand up, man up, and make an example of somebody when it comes to gender-based violence, because this is disgusting. Secondly, this happens everywhere in our nation, guys. Our judges, there is a huge judicial issue with gender-based violence in our judicial system. There is a huge issue with police. They are some of the largest perpetrators of gender-based violence. So the very institutions that need to be protecting us are the ones where the crime is most prevalent and well hidden. Nobody talks about this. So again, Cyril, I'm calling on you to make an example of somebody, please, because there's a judge, here he is, this little judge, this person, because he's not a man, has been practicing in his capacity while she has to carry on working in this environment where clearly there is a sense of mistrust, there is a sense of disrespect, and obviously a sense that this is okay. This is okay. So Cyril, please don't be standing up on stage, and blessed be you aren't, in your 2026 sauna address, be talking about gender-based violence. Because I will make sure that I'm outside picketing against the lies and the lack of effort you put into this. So before I end off, I want to leave you with this thought. If our judicial system and our police are some of the biggest perpetrators of harassment and gender-based violence, you need to question how accurate our statistics are. But one thing the ANC doesn't have is action, which is probably why they partnered with Action SA, because ANC does not know how to action. And now apparently combined, they're going to Fraction SA. Well done. Cyril, you need to man up on this count. You need to start making somebody an example of what South Africa doesn't stand for. Please, Wena, please. Have a good long weekend, everyone. Love chatting. Ciao, ciao now.